All right, guys. So here we are. This is a little bit over a week after Stranger Things 2 was officially released by Netflix. And I think that as long as Stranger Things is around, this is going to become kind of like our Star Wars episodes that we're going to have to cover them. I mean, there's no way around it. So here we are. We've both have managed to squeeze in the episodes in the past 8-9 days. Some of us it took like 8 days. Some of us it took less than a day. But we'll get to that in a second too. But here we are talking about Stranger Things season 2, I guess. Let's jump into it because I know I have a lot to say, and I'm assuming knowing you have a lot to say as well, Mark.
I've been looking forward to this season for a while in terms of all the Netflix TV shows and all the things out there in terms of these like binge worthy TV shows, as they call it nowadays with these streaming shows. Stranger Things has probably been the only thing I've really been sitting around waiting with bated breath for it to happen. And I like the first season kind of took us all by surprise. Nobody really knew what it was or expected it to like it. And then it just seemed like it just blew up. And I guess that's how these shows work, I guess. But like, yeah, I really enjoyed the first one, for a lot of reasons. I mean, this is kind of like our age group for the most part. And the things these kids did were pretty much things we did. And then, mixing in the science fiction stuff. And then again, going back to our theme here, the John Carpenter-esque feel of the filming and the music. Obviously, I was looking forward to this quite a bit, and it took forever. It seemed like for this to be released. Yeah,
it's funny because it came out on Friday. The Friday it came out on the 28th or 27th or whatever it was, and I work from home, so I had to patiently wait for my wife and my kids as well, who watched the show, to get home so we could actually start watching it. And I think we waited till after dinner to actually start watching it, but by the time we were all settled down. And my wife, who gets up really early, usually ends up falling asleep fairly early. So we were like in the middle of the third episode the first day, and she conked out in her chair. So then we had to wait till the following day to finish it up. And this is no lie. So I had no problem sleeping on Thursday night, going into Friday. It was totally fine because I knew I'd have to wait all day anyway. But that Friday night, man, that was like being a 8-year-old on Christmas morning, just having the feeling that you were getting the most awesome toys ever in the morning when you woke up in the morning. Because I think I slept like maybe 2-3 hours at most, if not even that. And then you get up and you're like, all right, we're gonna do it. We're gonna knock the rest of the season out. And then of course the first thing my wife, I didn't see that whole episode that we were watching last night yet, so I had to rewatch episode 3 to get her caught up before we can finish the rest of them. And then it was in between every episode. Then like, okay, now I'm going to go change over laundry, or we're going to do a load of dishes, or we're going to do this, or we're going to do that. And so it took us like 8 or 9 hours to watch the remaining 6 episodes. And it was one of those like, come on. And I think I even said that at one point, what you had just said. I've been waiting for this for a year. Let's go.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and throw this out there too, because I know that there is a lot of this going around. Some of the stuff that I've been reading, and then of course, Stranger Things, just like Star Wars and everything else, has its fair amount of haters out there, just because people want to hate on whatever they can. So there's always the people out there like, season 2 sucks and all this other stuff. But I will go ahead and say that, to get it out of the way fairly early in the episode here, that I do not think that season 2 was nearly as good as season 1. But, overall, I had a great time watching it. And there's a couple of things we'll touch on, I'm sure, here coming up in a little bit in the episode. But, overall, I don't think it was nearly as good as the first season. But, I did watch it in less than 24 hours when I started watching it too. So I think that says something for itself right there.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I was wondering that myself too. Is it the second season as good as the first? And to be honest with you, I kind of see them sort of the same. Like, I guess, like, I didn't really see it as worse or better. I think it progressed the story in a lot of ways. I enjoyed a lot of things they did with this one. Some things I didn't like. Some things I think I liked more. Like, I one of the things, and I won't go too deep into it right yet, but I do like the evolution of the 11 character and where things are going with her. I think that got more interesting because, and I'm kind of glad to see how they're dealing with that right now. Some of the stuff more based on in the laboratory, I think some of that I wasn't as excited about this time around. Where I don't know, I guess like some of the characters there and how it seems like it's no longer like a menacing thing. It's more like we have almost kind of you kind of feel bad for the people running it because they just sort of took over the job of having to do it and deal with it. I didn't really care for the whatever they are, monster dog things.
The Demodogs?
Demodogs, yeah. I wasn't even a big fan of the original monster in the first movie. I just didn't think the design was all that incredible. And so the dogs didn't really add anything to me. I do like the big giant monster, though, and I think I like where they're going with that. Actually kind of reminded me of The Mist.
Okay. I think we should go ahead and tackle, I think, what is the most controversial item of the season, and that would be the introduction of the other experiment or whatever they're called, the lost sister, if you will, that is yes. With number 11, and that would be 8. And also, this is actually my biggest issue with the season. This is really one of the there's 2 issues I have with the season, but this is one of the biggest ones I have. And they kind of devoted an entire episode to this character, and that is episode 7, which, I mean, if you look up Stranger Things Season 2, Episode 7, you're going to find a whole bunch of articles about this. And I am one of the ones that fall on the side of, I think that episode 7 was completely useless and completely pointless. About 10, 15 minutes into the episode, I was ready to turn that one off and go to the next one. Which I think that touches on a couple of things that we've talked on before, and we'll get to that in just a second. But the season opens up with this girl in this car, and she's got a group of, these misfits with her, or whatever you want to call them, and she has these, psychic abilities, and then we find out that she has a tattoo on her wrist that's similar to 11's tattoo, except hers is 8. Mm-hmm. And then you don't hear or see anything about her for 7 episodes into the season, and then you have this entire episode that is 11 going to find this stuff from her past, and they hook up and all this stuff happens, and then you don't hear from her again. So I don't know what that was all about. My wife, when we were watching it, my wife has this theory that in the next couple of seasons they're going to start bringing all of these other characters into the mix, which would be cool, because when that first episode started and you're like, oh, that's somebody like 11, that's awesome, let's hear some more about her, and then you don't hear nothing else.
I heard that the idea was that for this new characters, they're going to eventually, I don't know who told me, I think my son told me, he heard somewhere that it's going to be a spin-off show. See, I was wondering that too. That was my other thought with it, was I bet you that's a spin-off right there. But with that episode 7, because like I said, I was like 10, 15 minutes into this, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. Mm-hmm. But this is something that we were talking about with when we were talking about this show last year, as well as It,
And we haven't really covered on the Goonies or Stand By Me or anything of those lines yet, but we talked about this last year when we were talking about this show, and that is you have these characters that you come back and you watch, 10, 9, 10 times in these episodes, and you love those characters. And then you have this episode that those characters aren't in. And because all I kept thinking, I was like, wait, where are the kids? Where are the boys? The whole episode, and
Right.
they're not there. And I mean, I seriously was ready to turn it off like 10, 15 minutes into the episode. But I was like, oh, they're going to come by the end. They're going to come by the end of the episode. And they didn't. And I mean, 11 was in it, but I mean, honestly, by this point in the season, you're 7 episodes into it, and 11's not in it to the capacity that she was before. And me personally, I didn't really, I'm like, what? I don't really care about her. Where's Mike and his buddies at? Those are the guys I want to see.
Yeah, I actually that episode and like that whole side story, I guess like a lot of people didn't like, from what I'm understanding. I actually didn't mind it, and it was, to me, it was just kind of like 11 kind of stepping out a little bit and figuring things out, trying to go on her own personal journey, and I knew it would it'd carry her back to the rest of the story, so I knew it was going to go back. So I guess to me, I didn't mind it that much, and I know a lot of people did. It was kind of cool to see the old 80s downtown city vibe, like the punk thugs and all that kind of thing, the Mohawks and stuff. That was such classic, like every single bad guy in a 1980s video game basically looked like these people. Kind of like that 1980s vibe. These are the bad guys are going to be they're going to have punk rock hair, and I'm surprised. I don't remember for sure, but I'm surprised I don't recall them having switchblades. Because that would have been the next thing for sure for that kind of a bad guy.
That guy was a knife thrower. I don't think he did have a switchblade, though.
Interesting. They should have done that. But I really didn't mind it, because I was very much interested and mostly invested in 11's story this time around. I think more so than even the kids to some extent. Like I was very focused in on 11 and kind of where she was going. And I love the idea of her living, like hiding away with Hopper, and like kind of that father-daughter relationship that they were developing. I love that. I thought that was great. That guy's an awesome character too. I just totally really get into that character for whatever reason. Yeah, I was hoping to see, I liked her evolution, going from hiding away, trying to discover who she is, and she gets a name finally. So she's not 11 anymore. She's Jane. And then getting a little bit more backstory of who she is, and then she has to, control her powers, and then she obviously goes back, and then it's got that kind of romantic twist with Mike. So it's sort of like, I don't know. I didn't mind it.
Really?
Yes. Yeah.
When I was watching that, and that episode was, I'm like, this is going to be something me and Mark are going to have a heyday with, because I'm sure this is bugging the shit out of him right now.
Yeah, no, it really didn't. And I thought it was okay. And actually my oldest son was like, yeah, there's one episode you won't like at all, and it doesn't fit in with anything else.
See, I'm not the only one who knows you.
Yeah, and then when I talked to him, he's like, did you figure out the episode? I'm like, no, which one was it? He's like, you didn't? And I'm like, no, I liked them all. Which one was it? And then I guessed it was that one, because that one was the most different. But it just, to me, it was like, I was okay with it for whatever reason. Interesting.
Because see, I'm not the only one who knows you, and you're very interesting. No, that's cool though. I mean, yeah, but that definitely, it did bug me. And like I said, yeah, I was ready to turn it off. But my wife was like, no, because we're going to get some information for the next season. And then afterwards, I was like, I said one of two things. I was like, okay, either they put that in there as planning for a spinoff, which wouldn't surprise me if this gets a couple of spinoffs.
Oh, yeah.
Or it was they had 8 episodes. Because the way that the whole thing fit together was that entire episode really didn't meld with anything else. Mm-hmm. Was like, they had 8 episodes, and Netflix said, you guys need 9 episodes. And they were like, wait, what? Oh, well, let's reshoot the opening for the season, and then we'll just do this other episode. Which,
right.
I mean, either way, it could definitely be.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was. It kind of helped. It kind of carried along again Eleven's journey to find out who she is and what she's about and what she's willing to do and not do. So I think that was like her. I think that was kind of her moral dilemma in the so far in this whole show, basically, where she was given the chance to become like to use her powers for evil, and then she kind of had that like back and forth, like, yeah, I could do that, but I don't think that's the right decision. So she like kind of had to make that decision to choose to not do that. And so I kind of went with it. Yeah, and I'm really getting into the 11 character. I'm like, I think I'm really like focused in on like her storyline now, to see where it goes. But I mean, I like all the characters in this are really, really good. I mean, my gosh, like Winona, like the amount of, I mean, the fact that they cast her as that mom role, like in this 80s show, is just, it was like brilliant casting. Like I can't even imagine this show without her in that, as that character. And like the things that she did in like her portrayal of that mom in this season, I think took it to a whole nother level. Like there were scenes in that, man, where I was just like, seriously, if this woman doesn't like win some kind of TV, whatever the award is for television shows, and you know,
an Emmy,
is that what? If she doesn't like walk away with that for best TV performance of 2017, then I am done with. I've already been done with these award shows, but I will definitely never watch the award show again.
I'm surprised that we made it this far into the episode before you brought her up.
Yeah, she's amazing, man. I mean, like, I was like, like the first season, like every time her name came up in the credits, I'd get chills. It just like was holy crap, because she was so good. And then like this one, she just tore it up. It was like,
wow,
she took it to a whole nother level. And it's like all of a sudden I'm on this like Winona kick. I'm like, what are the movies was she in? I realized she was
going on a year.
I know. And I mean, she was in Heathers. That was good. Beetlejuice, Dracula. I got to see that one with her in it. Now I want to see that Bram Stoker's Dracula. But yeah, she's just like, she is a completely, I mean, talented actress to say the least. I mean, my gosh. Like, I totally buy her as the 80s mom, you know, the single 80s mom trying to make ends meet.
I still am in a little bit of shock that the episode 7 didn't bug you at all when it bugged the hell out of me.
What did you think? What did you think I would be bugged about?
Oh, just the fact that the kids weren't in it.
Oh, that the kids were okay.
You know,
well, see, I guess to me it was like the story of 11 was kind of capturing me, like the idea of her wanting to get out of that little shack and figure life out and find out who she is, and you know, it reminded me of like an 80s movie. I don't know. I'm trying to think of something specific. I don't want to say Jason Takes Manhattan, but it did I mean, that vibe was there, obviously, because of the punk rock guys, you know, but
yeah.
It was,
yeah, I can see that.
But it's like what 80s movie is it where there's like the main character like gets involved with the bad kids or something, and then realizes they don't want to do it, and then like has a change of heart and all that kind of, I mean, that's like such an 80s thing, you know. That was like in all those movies, it seemed like. And for some reason I can't think of one, so that's not a good sign, but
that's your old age catching up to you.
I guess.
I will say that on the flip side of that episode, with this episode with the whole season, that I thought that they did a really great job, and this again goes back to something we talked about when we were talking about the Stranger Things 1 last year, and that is the older kids. So you had Steve, and Nancy, and you had Barb back then, and Jonathan, and all of these characters. When we were talking about the first season of the show, we were saying how like, those guys suck. Get them off the screen. Let's bring the kids back in. We want to see more of the kids because, you know, we just didn't care about them. But This season, by the time everything was all wrapped up, I was like, well, those guys are just as cool as the kids are.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, that whole thing where Nancy and Jonathan were at the guy's house, the conspiracy theory guy's house, bunker or whatever, you know? I'm like, well, this is cool. Let's see what's going to happen. Are they going to do it? Come on, guys, are you going to do it?
I will say this though. I guess this would be my only gripe of the whole show, of the whole season. I don't know if this bothered you or not, but the new villain guy.
Oh, Billy?
Yes, I don't like him at all. Like he's got like that kind of vibe that like every time he's on screen, you're just like, ugh. I don't even. He's just, you know, like you don't even want to like, you don't want to like even hate him. You don't like him that much, you know. He's like, it's just like, yeah, I don't care. Like, you know, it's like he really plays up the whole like douchebag kind of character.
Yeah, my thing with Billy was, and this wasn't anything to do with the guy who played him at all, but it was that character, and I wonder if you picked up on this at all or not. So, the Billy character, he seemed to have the characteristics of every, well, to put it in your words, douchebag stereotype that there was. So he was a partier, but at the same time, he was like this super jock, but yet he was like, you know, all the ladies loved him, but he was this like weird greaser kid. But right. You know, he was a total badass, and I mean, he just, that character like covered all the bases, and I'm like, pick like one. You just pick one. I don't care what you are. You know, pick one.
Was he supposed to be racist too? It seemed like was that kind of like why he was against the his daughter.
Oh yeah, I think that maybe he was, because why she didn't want him hanging out with
can't think of his name.
But yeah, I think racist and everything else, you know, it was just, you know, and you know, like muscular and just like, come on, man.
Right. Yeah, I didn't care for it at all. Oh, and then also, you know, he had the abusive dad. And
right.
You know,
yep.
So but like I guess like to me he was, I don't know how to explain. I think you're right. I think they put too many different things into him. They should have focused on one, and just the way he kind of carried himself, and every time you see him on screen, it was just like, I don't know. Can I fast forward these scenes? I don't really want to see this.
Yeah, he by the end of the thing, by the end of the 9 episodes, I got to the point where he was, you know, that character that you just, at least for me anyway, you know, you just loved to hate him when he was on the screen.
Yeah.
But I think that they really missed an opportunity with not only him, but him and his sister or his stepsister. You know, because that was a thing for the first several episodes of the season. You're trying to figure out who's this Billy guy and this girl that he's with, Max. Who are those guys? Because they kind of said early on, like, she's not my sister. And so you're trying to like, oh, are these like some like government agents from somewhere else? Did they come in or what? And then, you know, just, oh no, they're just stepbrother and sister. And they got an asshole dad. You know, it was nothing else. I mean, it would have been cool if it had been like, oh, they're secret agents and
right. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Into the gang and like, but yeah, I wasn't like pissed about it or anything, but it was one of those things that was like, when it finally got to that point, whenever it was like episode 5 or episode 6, and they're like, no, it's my stepsister. Oh, really? Yeah. That's it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a good season, though. One thing, too, I wanted to comment on. I've been watching those behind the scenes, or whatever, not behind the scenes, whatever they are, the after the show table conversations with like the director and the Duffy brothers, and they have a few of the actors and actresses on, and they kind of talk about what's in their heads while they're filming and all that stuff. And there's some pretty cool stuff that came about. First of all, like I didn't, there you see kind of certain patterns, and like the original, they talked about it how in the original the opening scene was the game of Dungeons and Dragons, and that was like the beginning, and that was going to kind of tell you the story of what was going on. Well, in this one, they opened it with another game. They opened it with an arcade thing, so it was like sort of it goes back to the whole gaming thing where it's like, okay, look at the games, what games are they playing, and this is what you're going to see in the movie. And two of the games they used was Dragon's Lair. I don't know if do you remember that one when we were like that age? The cartoon game.
I do. Yep.
And it wasn't like impossible to play.
Yep. I remember that as well.
But there was like, it was about, and I don't remember it because I remember like I'd put quarters in and like I felt like you weren't even controlling it. Like it was like, I'm just watching a cartoon. I'm not even really playing, am I? They talked about how that was sort of like kind of an example of what was going on with the love triangle with the two kids in Mad Max. Because I guess in that game there's like a princess and I don't know. You're supposed to save the whatever. But anyhow, and then the other game they used was Dig Dug. And that was like an old Atari game. And the Duffy brothers didn't even know about the game. They said they don't recall it as when they were kids. Somebody on the set like knew about it. And I actually had that game for Atari 2600. Do you remember that game?
I do.
We used to, I think because you and I were like, back when Nintendo first popped out, like you and I still like kind of had the Atari, I remember, for a while before, and like we never like graduated to Nintendo because I remember you would loan me cartridges and because you loaned me Pitfall 2 once, and I remember I was hooked on that game. But Dig Dug was like one of the games I used to play all the time on the Atari.
I was thinking about this the other day. I know that I used to go to arcades at different times for different things. I was trying to remember if me and you and anybody else back in those days actually ever went to arcades. I mean, I know we played video games and stuff, but I don't think we ever did.
Well,
and I don't
Lakehurst Shopping Mall, Aladdin's Castle. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but did we didn't go there like regularly though?
Not regularly, but like one of our mutual friends I remember had a birthday party there, like, and like we all met there.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you remember that?
I kind of remember that. Yeah. Because I always remember the one arcade game that I put the most money into was this game called Narc. And it was exactly what we were talking about earlier, to where it was the whole like 80s punk thug, scene. And it was this, thing where you were these cops and you were out shooting drug dealers or something.
Oh, nice.
I've always tried to find that game again, and I've never been able to, because me and my cousin one time at reunion, because this game was in the arcade at the place we were staying at, we put, I think between the two of us, to beat the game, I think we put almost $50 into it one time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was nuts, but we beat the shit out of that game. But yeah,
that's cool.
But yeah, I remember playing, some of those video games, and
it seemed like we were like in that, Aladdin's Castle was a big deal video or arcade back then. It was a chain, and there was one by us in Lakehurst Shopping Mall. And that place was packed to the brim every time you'd go past it. Like every time you were at the mall, you'd see like just loads of people in there. And it seemed like we were probably like at that age where, like the 12 and under age, where it was more like I think it was more high school kids that were in there. And so we were still kind of in that, like, you couldn't fully be hanging out in there as much because it was like older kids kind of dominated the place. But yeah, I mean, I remember going there. I remember playing like Double Dragon. I remember Mortal Kombat when that came out. That was a big deal on the arcades. But then, like, everything went to like, games at your home, so you didn't need it anymore.
Yeah, it's just weird.
I will say, going back to Stranger Things, is that I don't know what your thoughts were, but I thought how they wrapped everything up was perfect. Like the snowball dance, the final, the kisses, the 11 coming in there and meeting Mike, and and then what's his name, Dusty, dancing with the
Dancing with Nancy.
Dancing with Nancy. I thought it was great. I thought they wrapped it up perfectly. It was like almost like watching like 16 Candles or something. I was waiting for like Molly Ringwald to show up.
Speaking of celebrities, this is a segue. So Sean Astin was in this season as well.
A Goonie.
Yes, thank you for that. And my wife kept saying, "Oh, it's Sam Wise." I'm like, "No, that's not why he's in this. He's in this because he's a Goonie." And she kept saying,
Yeah.
"No, he's Sam Wise from the Lord of the Rings series." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's a Goonie."
Right.
So
That's funny.
The Goonies came out in 1985. While this season was taking place of Stranger Things, which was in like October, November of 1984, they were probably wrapping up filming on the Goonies. So it's kind of funny because after we got done watching it, I was like, "Oh, I can't remember when the Goonies came out," but like weird, like meta kind of stuff. But you know, while they're making Stranger Things, like the younger version of himself is off filming the Goonies somewhere.
Yeah, that's funny.
They should have thrown in a commercial to the Goonies, and it would have been cool.
Oh, another thing I want to toss in here real quick before we wrap things up. As I've mentioned before on the show, I am a mask collector. And Trick or Treat Studios recently, within the last few years, picked up the license for several of the Halloween movies. And so for the first time ever, we've gotten some pretty damn good Halloween Michael Myers replica masks from Trick or Treat Studios. And just so happened one of those masks was featured in this season of Stranger Things. And it was, if any of you horror aficionados would have recognized it, it was the Elrod mask. And it was Mad Max wearing it during the trick-or-treating scene. And it's kind of funny because back then in 1984, the only mask that would have really been available would have been the Don Post mask called The Mask, because it wasn't licensed as a Michael Myers mask, so they just called it The Mask. And it was kind of a plain white mask with brown hair. It didn't really have the Kirk features. Kind of did, but kind of didn't. So that was kind of cool that, you know, you got to see an actual official licensed Michael Myers mask, which again takes us back to the whole everything connects back to John Carpenter no matter what we do.
Yeah, overall, I haven't gone back and rewatched it yet, but I'm sure I will. Although I don't know if I've ever rewatched season 1 all the way through. I know I've watched certain pieces of it. But overall, I would definitely give this one a giant thumbs up. You know, like I said, I don't think it was as good as the first season, but I don't know if you could have matched the first season of this, just because of the sheer fact that, if I'm remembering right, it was along the lines where it was getting some buzz, and one of the two of us, I don't remember which one it was first, watched an episode or two of it and then told the other one, like, "Hey, you should watch this. This is pretty good." And then a couple episodes into it, you know, we're like, "Holy crap, this is amazing."
Yeah, I think we kind of both stumbled upon it around the same time, and then just started chatting about it, and then all of a sudden we realized, hey, holy crap, this is our childhood. And then before long, we were like talking about it on the show. But yeah, I agree with you. I give it a big thumbs up. It's not the most original story, you know, and some of the things in it, like some of the monsters designs, like I had complained about earlier, aren't like top notch, and it's just sort of like, all in all, like it all works out really, really well, and it's fun, and it's really cool that there's a show like this that exists. So I can't get enough of like just saying how much I enjoyed it. And you know, and again, any Winona Ryder fans, you got to check it out. This is like some of her best top-notch work right now. And you know, you'll probably want, just like me, you'll probably end up wanting to go back and revisit some of her earlier things.